Welcome to Tasty Tuesday's third edition, the Tuesday before Christmas, brought to you by Transition Nutrition Fitness Coaching. Today we're going to be making some yummy ginger molasses cookies, whole food plant-based, that have very few ingredients and only have to bake for about 12 to 15 minutes in the oven. I hope you enjoy it, and here we go. You're going to start off with 1.5 cups of almond flour. And one of the things I really like about this recipe is it's all made in one bowl, which makes it nice and quick and easy cleanup. After that, you're going to add 1/2 cup of coconut sugar, 1/4 cup of molasses. Got my spatula. 1/4 cup of molasses. And this is black strap molasses. It's unsulfured. 1/2 cup of cashew butter, or you could use almond butter. I wouldn't use peanut butter because that would be a little bit too strong of a flavor and would probably overpower the molasses and the ginger flavor of the cookie. But either cashew butter or almond butter would work fine as an interchangeable ingredient. Next, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ginger, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and I use salt-free baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And again, I use sodium-free baking soda substitute. And the only one I've been able to find is this one, which I find on Amazon, and it's called Enner Baking Soda Substitute. The only thing is you do have to double it when you put it in the recipe. So if the recipe calls for 1/2 teaspoon, you have to put in a whole teaspoon. And it tells you right on the back of the container. We've dumped in all of our ingredients now, except for you also need 1 flax egg. You can also make this using a stand mixer, but I have so many little appliances in my kitchen that I just prefer to use the hand mixer. So after you have all your ingredients in, you're simply going to mix it up. This is a really stiff dough, as most molasses cookies are, and this is what it'll look like when you've got it all mixed up. You're simply now going to place it in the refrigerator and let it chill for 10 minutes. Okay, now our dough has chilled for the 10 minutes in the refrigerator. I use a Pampered Chef small scoop, and what you're going to do is take 1 scoop at a time, roll it into a ball, and roll it into some more coconut sugar. Then you take the ball and you place it on a Silpat or a silicone baking sheet on your cookie sheet. Once you have all of the balls made, you're going to dampen your fingers and then slightly tamp down each cookie. These cookies will not spread much, so you want to make sure that they look pretty much like you want them to look before they're baked. So again, you just scoop out a scoop, roll it in your hands, make a nice little ball, roll it in the coconut sugar, and place it on your sheet. This recipe makes anywhere from 15 to 18 cookies, depending on how big you make the balls and how big you make the cookies. Now that we have all of the cookie balls made, I just dampen my fingers under the faucet and I press them down to about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch thick, somewhere in between that. And you do have to use dampened fingers, or after a while the cookies will start sticking to your hands. So you just mash them down very gently. You're going to preheat your oven to about 350 degrees. And depending on your oven, they should take anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes to cook. I do let them cool on the cookie sheet for a bit before I move them to the cookie rack. They are a soft centered cookie. That's what they should look like. And now we'll pop them in the oven. All right, the cookies are out of the oven. Now we want to let them cool just a little bit before we try to take them off the pad normally. I am going to go ahead and slide these off onto the cookie rack. This does help them cool just a little bit quicker to get that hot pan out from underneath them. As you can see, they did puff a little bit, but they still maintain pretty much the size I patted them down into. If you're very gentle, you get a spatula. Normally, you want to let them completely cool before you try to remove them, but I want to show you just a little bit of what they look like. And I wish we had smell-o-vision because really they smell delicious. They really make your house smell great for the holidays. Very simple cookie. I love having one at night with a nice hot cup of herbal tea. And I hope you enjoy it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And we'll be back with you next week for another edition of Tasty Tuesday.